Hi, healers. I wanted to talk about relationships, toxic people, and how we can deal with toxicity. So that was yeah. Why do people become toxic? Well, that's a good question. Anybody can become toxic. It's our job to prevent ourselves. Humans can become toxic in your actions with fear, just because you don't know how to cope with something, and it's kind of but that's not really owning the toxicity. That might be a toxic action, which is different than actually owning the toxicity and having the toxicity be a part of your behavior. Not your outward acting, but your behavior, the behavior that you've adapted. That's different because everybody can behave different. And a lot of times you know when someone's toxic because they don't have any kind of worse for their toxicity. Someone who is not toxic may act out in a toxic way, but be remorseful of it. And they can see the conflict it's caused in their lives. Toxic people are accustomed to the conflict, and therefore they continue to act out in these behaviors. It's a pattern, like it builds up, like blocks. People become toxic when they are stuck in a belief pattern, a way of thinking that becomes toxic because it's like an ideology and they can't get beyond that. It's like this is the way that they see everything in life, it's the way that they visualize things. And they can't see outside of it. It can be right in front of their face, like the truth and how the reality of a situation, but they see it through the eyes of their own ideology. And that is because they're stuck in a belief pattern. And we see everything through a viewpoint to an extent. Everyone does that. But the idea that you can't see out of that pattern, you can't see around it at all is toxic. And a good way to know that you're not in a toxic ideology is that you can understand somebody else's perspective. Even if you don't agree with it, you can see how they agree that way, or how their life agrees with the way that they live. And you're not judgmental over it. So you may be overstepping a certain belief pattern that a toxic person has, and that'll cause some controversy. They don't want you to think outside their belief patterns, depending on your relationship to them. I mean, even still, if you're anything out of the toxic belief pattern, or this belief pattern may not be toxic, but the idea that anybody can't overstep it in any way at all, and they're wrong, then that's another way to know that somebody's toxic is they're acting from a place of pain. You'll see that a lot, like when somebody passed away or funeral or something like that, which is, is normal. Like there's normal degrees of toxicity that people don't realize that they're doing at times because they're in the process of pain. But this is a short-lived experience. If they can't get out of the pain and it just increases, or they don't deal with the pain, they don't work through it, then that can cause toxicity. Somebody who is normally not toxic can become toxic through pain, like if they have a really bad injury or something. Hiding from themselves and others. Will they know that something's going on in their life? They don't want to deal with it. It can create toxicity. They're afraid to get exposed. Fear again, but it's also exposure. Fear and exposure. That's some of the strongest toxicity you'll see. It's all about these hidden insecurities. And each one of these pretty much goes back to that fear usually is an insecurity. When you're stuck in a belief pattern, you're afraid to get out of it. You're that accustomed to it. You're afraid what other people think if you don't believe this way. Like if it's a cult mentality or even like a friend group or anything. It's the whole reason why you're in a certain group, mate. If you think outside of that at all. Um, acting from a place of pain. A lot of times that's an insecurity too. Depending what the pain is, it might not be business. It could be emotional. And when you're hiding from yourself, it's because you're insecure. And a lot of it comes back to insecurities and shame. So these look for someone to act out in a toxic way to themselves. So it all comes back to not wanting to heal and not wanting to heal some things that are coming up that need to be healed. Remember, toxic individuals are toxic to themselves and they may not realize they are toxic because they are in toxic. A lot of times we don't know what we're in, we don't know that it. To get out of toxicity is the beginning of your answer. Accepting the fact that you are harming yourself and it is radiating out to others. The door to healing toxic cycles is to open the door to truth. Understanding the fact that it's unhealthy the way you're behaving, the way that you're thinking, that other people have a right to live in a non-toxic environment. That includes you working on yourself, starting with you. Where there is a lie, there is art, actions, thoughts, beliefs on affecting other people. Accepting and recovering the truth brings health and safety. That's how you heal toxicity. You look the truth straight in the eye. Liars are toxic, and anyone who is a part of a lie, knows about a lie, is withholding, is a lie, is in a toxic cycle, and has created a lie within themselves. When you're hiding something or lying about something, withholding information, somebody who's very much involved and is worthy of the truth, you have created a toxic cycle within yourself, and you will receive toxic backlash from creating toxicity in yourself. You will receive toxicity in yourself, and it will go out to others. And to keep alive hidden truth. So when we expose the truth, we will that toxicity, and then we can clear ourselves from it and help others out. Okay, that's that.